so then I'm gonna then I am going to cut the bottom and adhere the bottom. Now let's say you wanted to do this cup here. I have a different template for it. It's the same exact principle, same exact. It's just rolling the little thing over it. It's a little bit different to get that texture. Okay, so here what you're gonna do, you could go, you could actually use a needle tool to cut it, or you could go straight for your knife. I'm going straight for my knife, and I'm cutting around. I will put this video up on Google Classroom, but I think it's important to see how much time it takes to obsess over something. This is a pretty quick thing that you can make, but at the same time, craftsmanship is really, really key. Okay, so I just cut this out. It's not awesome in terms of it being like nice looking, so I'm just gonna take a moment and just kind of clean that off, because if I start with a nice circle, I don't have to clean that circle up too terribly later. So I'm just coming back in here because I am not a machine. I did not cut. I could have actually made a cookie cutter. That would have been genius. I should buy some cookie cutters this size. It's just that I wanted this exact size, so I didn't buy any cookie cutters, but you can see what I'm doing here. I am cleaning that off. I am just obsessing and trying to make that look like a much prettier circle. It is so much nicer. That doesn't take that much time. Okay, so then I want to attach these two. So what I'm gonna do next is, don't forget, you gotta slip and score every single time. I'm trying to go as fast as I can so you get some time to do some construction in here today. Let's say you wanted to actually build a shape. Like, let's say you didn't want just a cylinder or a whatever, kind of more of a cone looking thing. What could you do to create like a little bit of a shape to this? Do you have any idea? Is there something you could do? It's clay, there's always something. No? What, Emma? Like, let's say you wanted it to bell out a little bit. Could you do that? You could always actually just do it partial slab and partial coils. You won't get it to look nearly as professional and clean as the slab method does, but you could get pretty darn close. Okay, so now I'm gonna put that right on top of here, and I'm hoping that the bottom is a little smaller. Oh, such a good demo today, yay. Okay. I want the bottom to be a tiny bit smaller than the top. And that is because I want to give the illusion of like an actual shape of like a foot. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is I got it all up on there. And actually I really love this little tool. I can just kind of, no, you know what, I probably should smooth, I should probably do a coil. I'm gonna show you now how to reinforce with a coil. All right. So I'm gonna take a little bit of clay. When you're doing little coils to reinforce your mugs, you want to make them very, 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 very skinny. Okay, so when you're making really, 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 really tiny, skinny coils, you need to use your whole entire workstation, and you need to use 2 hands. So make sure that your workstation is clean. And I'm gonna need to use a lot of coils, because I'm gonna have to coil the inside as well, because anywhere that I have attached my clay, I want to reinforce. Okay, and I'm trying to go as fast as I can here for you. Okay, all right, that's pretty good. Honestly, the smaller you make it, the easier your job's gonna be. So the smaller your coil, the better off you're gonna be. You also want to think consistent. So you saw how I did that. So my coil was like, I know it's kind of boring to watch, but like it is important to see. And then I'm going to actually pick a section that is as consistent as possible. You still need to slip and score everything you do. I know it's annoying. I know you want to skip that step. Don't skip it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just push that into position here. If it breaks, it's no biggie. And And I'm just gonna push it into position, push it into position, push it into position, and boom. Okay. So I could put this back in so that I have a nice shape to hold that. That makes it a lot easier for me to actually now like smooth it together. I can do a couple of things. I can just smooth it like this with my finger. I could also try using this tool, which I only have one of these right now, so I think I definitely need to get more. I kind of like this tool because it takes away the human touch a little bit, and it kind of mechanizes it. The more you can mechanize the experience, the more actually machined it does actually look, which is kind of nice. I will have to come back and obsess over it and really like do some sponging to blend it in. But it's a good way to start, and then I can kind of come in and just kind of, it's not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna get it pretty darn close. All right, so then I'm gonna kind of keep working it and smoothing it lightly, methodically, carefully, lovingly. Now I'm gonna sponge. And I'm gonna just love this thing into like really good shape. Oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Hopefully you're seeing all this. Can everybody see all this? All right, the last thing we have one more thing we have to do, which is actually two more things. What's my next step? Next step, what would you do next? Let's say I'm done. Let's say for these purposes I am done. It's pretty darn close. I just need to like, oh no, I hit it. It's okay. I do need to actually reinforce the inside. I'm not going to show you how to do all that. I will show you a little bit, okay? But I'm not going to take the whole time to do this, okay? But I am going to show you here. This had a coil on the inside here and a coil down in here, okay? That is really important, or it might actually crack and fall apart if you don't do that step. Is it fun? No, it's really not. But the fun part is having a cool mug when you're done. Okay, so you're gonna do the same thing. I would suggest, like, that's why I suggest like super skinny, consistent coils. Make sure your wear board is clean. I see a little bit of debris on here. Every little piece of dust picks up and it's rather annoying. But yeah, you definitely need to slip and score this. I'm just gonna get us started. I'm not gonna show you the whole thing because I don't want to spend the whole period doing this like I did in my last class. So pretend I did slip and score that whole thing or all the way around. I didn't. All right, that is now inside of there. Pretend that coil is all the way around. How am I going to smooth that out? My finger, a modeling tool. Because this finger can only do so much. It's not terrible though. You can do a lot with that. And then the last thing is the handle, okay? So notice that I don't have to reinforce the outside here, but I definitely do need to reinforce the inside there. If I wanted to make more of a foot kind of thing, I could actually do like a little bit of a circle here and kind of carve it down like what I did here. And I could smooth that better, but to make it look more professional. The last thing I want to do is actually add my handle. Okay, so here's my handle here. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that there. And I like to always put my handle at the joint. And I'm gonna go ahead and properly align it. It's got some bend to it, so I just want to cut it. Okay. All right, so then I can slip and score, add that, and guess what you have to do after you attach these, the coil with slipping and scoring? Guess what else you have to do? What I have to do? I need to make it stronger. How am I going to make it stronger? How did I just make this stronger on the bottom and on the inside? Yeah, you got to do a coil again. It is a pain in the butt, I know. But this thing will live and it will be useful for years to come. Okay, you can see here, it is now on there. Just pushing it alone is not going to do the trick. I know you're like, but Miss Durkee, come on. You could do it. You could just push it on there and just, you know, pray to the gods that it's not going to fall apart. But I personally think it is important. You can also take time right here to sort of smooth that out and make that even flatter. Like you can do a little bit of shaping if it still has a little bit of plasticity to it. I actually like to have a little bit of a flatter area for my thumb. You could do a cool stamp right there, but I do like to have a really nice like sort of indentation. So pretend that I took the time to do all of those little coils. This is a really good tool as well. I have more of these, like small versions of these. This is a really good tool. I mean, honestly, do you always have to do little coils? Not if your clay is really wet, but if your clay is pretty leather hard, you would need to. This is pretty wet clay. So I can just take the time to sort of smooth that. And I want to just think about how it looks on both sides. I want it to be consistent on both sides. So I'm just kind of, whatever I do to one side, I want to kind of do to the other. And you can see that's actually coming along quite well. I think I will add a coil here because it kind of just needs it. It looks a little bit like weak without it. Do you see how it's got that little bit of a lift right there? I'm gonna put a little coil there. And I'm just gonna obsess on this thing and really make it great, but that is coil. That's actually a pretty good looking mug now. Oh, last thing, the rim. You don't want that rim to look like it came straight out of a slab roller. You want to soften that up a little bit. Soften that up just by going like this, and you can also kind of bring it back into shape. Just like that. You can make a mug in a day. You might not, and that's okay. You want to practice, and you want to get better, and the more you take time and you do things over again, the better you get, right? Okay, all right. Thank you so much.